Yeah, I don't know if I'm a little bit naive, but I mean, we all know that the world has changed after 2001. I mean, the perspective in America changed. Americans are vulnerable. There are people out there in the world who hate Americans. You know, it's a world with the ravages of war, which is what we saw in the post-war, with genocide, with weapons of mass destruction, suffering on our screens, flicking there all the time. It is a different place. Financial vulnerability. Stig was getting the question in the late 40s, you know, you are so goddamn pessimistic, why do you write like that? And he said, you know, I came of age in the 30s and during World War II, and here is the Cold War. I mean, you know, he was also somebody who got his dreams, political dreams, crushed in the Spanish Civil War because he believed in a particular utopian model that was wiped out in that civil war. But so I think there are some similarities. But what we heard in New York the other night was, it's also that the climate in publishing has changed, and I think with digitalization, so that publishers may not feel so, it's not so much of a financial risk to go with sort of an unknown, relatively unknown writer. So I think there are multiple factors.
Yeah, I would add to that. I agree with your interpretation that, you know, there's something about, there's a certain sort of insecurity that is palpable, I think, now that sort of touches a nerve, and Stig's writing helps to touch a nerve with. But one of the things that Dagerman does in his fiction is he focuses often on the most vulnerable people in society. At the same time that he tries to shed a light on these people and in their vulnerability, in their great vulnerability, he tries to catch them at a moment before they've lost hope too. And so I think that there's a really interesting combination, and we don't necessarily sense that in the works that we've had a chance to sample here so far this evening. But there's a great deal, sort of an odd combined focus. There is this sort of anguish and suffering, and to a certain degree pessimism, but I think at the same, there is a strain of that in his writing, but there's also an equally powerful strain of, or rather not optimism, but of hope in his writing as well, and idealism, actually, and I think it's the interesting combination of those two that is beginning to appeal with readers who now really want to try, and really experienced readers and writers who are interested in bringing his works into print.